If you're constantly attracting emotionally unavailable men, men that don't want to commit to you, men who expect you to lead or never really seem ready for marriage, the problem isn't that there's no good men left. The problem is that you keep looking for the wrong things. You keep dating the wrong guy. And until you change what you're looking for, you're going to keep getting the same result, different face. I'm Crystal. I'm a relationship coach for women, and I teach you how to attract a provider, protector man using neuroscience and biblical principles so you can get married and stay married. Let's get into it. Welcome to Amor de Luna. Today I'm going to share the 5 reasons you're attracting the wrong men, because healthy marriages don't start with luck. They start with healthy selection. So number 1, you're dating for chemistry instead of character. This is probably the biggest mistake women make. You have chemistry with him. He makes you laugh, makes you feel seen. You can talk for hours. You feel like he's your best friend. Maybe you've never connected with anyone as deeply before, and because the chemistry is so strong, you assume he's husband material, but chemistry is not character. Character is who someone is when no one is watching. Whether he keeps his word, whether he follows through, whether he's disciplined, loyal. Character is whether he puts family before himself. Character is whether he does and follows through with what he said he was going to do. Most women are evaluating how a man makes them feel. Very few are evaluating who he actually is. And that mistake can get expensive. I know, because I made it. I once married for chemistry, friendship, comfort. It's not sustainable. I never stopped to ask, does this man have the character to be a husband? Does he have the character to lead a family? Or protect me when life gets hard? Or protect me against another man? Because eventually life gets real. Bills happen. Stress happens. Children, loss, hard seasons happen, and chemistry doesn't carry a marriage through those seasons. Character does. When we're attracted to someone, the brain releases that dopamine chemicals associated with pleasure, excitement, anticipation, and reward. And those early stages of dating, those chemicals can make us feel like we found the quote-unquote the one, when in reality we simply found someone who creates a strong emotional response. That's why chemistry can feel so convincing, like we're in love, but it doesn't mean they have a good character. Proverbs 3:130 says, "Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." Although talking to men here on what to look for women, it applies here too. Charm is not character. Personality, attraction, those aren't character. Character is what sustains the marriage long enough after the butterflies fade, because it's who they are. If you want a loyal husband, stop looking for how he makes you feel. Start looking at who he is. Because a man with strong character will stay loyal because that is who he is. Not because of you. Not because of who you are or how you perform or what value you bring. Because it is in his character to be loyal. Number 2. You're choosing potential over patterns. Women are natural nurturers. We're encouraging, we're visionaries, and we really see who someone could become, and that is beautiful until it becomes your downfall. Because some women fall in love with the man's potential instead of his reality. He says he wants to be successful, wants to start a business, maybe own a home one day, wants to provide, says he wants to be a husband, start a family. Okay. Those are great, but what is he doing today? What habits support that future? What evidence supports that he is working towards that? Because patterns tell the truth. Potential tells stories. I remember hearing my mentor say, imagine being married to Michael Jordan and watching him sit on the bench every single game. You know he's capable of greatness. You know what's inside of him, but he refuses to use it. How frustrating would that be? That's where many women are. You see his potential. You see what he could become. You see the future version of him, but you're dating the current version, the real version. And if his habits don't support the future he claims to want, believe that. The Bible says in Matthew 7:16, you will know them by their fruits. Notice Jesus didn't say you'll know them by their intentions, their promises, dreams, or their potential. You'll know them by their fruit, by the evidence of their life, actions, patterns. These things reveal what a person actually values, not what they claim to value. So we're not looking at words here. If you want a protector, provider, husband, choose a man that has habits working towards what he says he wants. Choose evidence. Choose consistency. Number 3, you're ignoring red flags because you're lonely. This one hurts, I know. Loneliness can make a woman make foolish decisions, and neuroscience supports this, okay? Loneliness associates with physical pain in the brain. So it doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it can really affect your judgment and decision making. That's why lonely people often become more willing to tolerate behavior they would normally reject. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guarding your heart doesn't mean building walls. It means using wisdom and discernment, refusing to let loneliness override your judgment. You were created for connection. We desire relationships and companionship. So after being single for a long time, loneliness starts whispering, and suddenly red flags don't look so red no more. They start looking a little pink, and you're like, well, no one's perfect. At least he likes me. At least he's trying. At least I'm not alone. Meanwhile, he doesn't have a stable job. He keeps getting into trouble. He never plans dates. He never talks about marriage with you. He never talks about the future for you guys. He makes you feel like you're an inconvenience. He doesn't protect you. He doesn't prioritize you. He doesn't lead. But because you're lonely, you stay. And then years later, you're frustrated because he still won't commit. Or worse, he wants marriage, but he's completely unprepared for the responsibility that comes with it. Deep down, your instincts are screaming, I can't trust this man with my future, but he wants to marry me. I can't trust this man with my children, but he wants children with me. I can't trust this man to have my back. And your instincts are right. Stop ignoring red flags because you're afraid of being alone. Being single is not worse than being stuck with the wrong person. Number 4, you're looking for attraction instead of true leadership. Most women know how to spot attraction. Very few know how to spot leadership. You're evaluating his smile, his height, his confidence, his charm, the chemistry again, maybe his job, but you're not evaluating whether he can lead. And leadership matters because if he can't lead, somebody has to, and guess who that's going to be? You. Now you're carrying all the decisions, all the planning, all the responsibility, and all the pressure, all the mental load. And at one point I thought, good, I want to lead. But then after a while, after years of leading, I wondered why my nervous system was so exhausted. A lot of women are being forced into leadership because the man they're with won't step up. And here's the truth. Just because men are called to lead doesn't mean every man is capable of leading. Leadership is a skill. Leadership requires responsibility, requires sacrifice and discipline. Those qualities are becoming increasingly rare, which means if you find a man with genuine leadership skills, pay attention, because leadership predicts husband material far more than attraction does. Stop asking, am I attracted to him? Or start asking, can I trust him to lead a family? That question will change your dating life. Leadership is one of the strongest predictors of relationship stability because leadership requires self-regulation. In neuroscience, self-regulation refers to a person's ability to manage impulses, emotions, and behavior in pursuit of long-term goals. So a man who cannot lead himself will struggle to lead a family. Proverbs 13:32 says, better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city. In other words, leadership begins with self-mastery. Number 5, you haven't healed, so you keep choosing the same man. This one's hard to hear because eventually we have to stop asking, why do I keep attracting these men? And start asking, why do I keep choosing these men? Because after a while, it isn't coincidence, it's a pattern, and patterns reveal wounds. Different personalities, different jobs, backgrounds, different stories, but eventually you realize, same type of man, different face. And they create the same outcome. The emotionally unavailable man, the man who won't commit, the passive man, the man who wasn't prepared to protect or provide. the details changed, but the pattern didn't. And that's when you have to take a hard look at yourself, because healed women and wounded women tolerate very different things. Neuroscience shows that our brains become familiar with relationship patterns, even unhealthy ones. The brain often mistakes familiarity with safety, which means if chaos was normal growing up, chaos can feel attractive. If inconsistency was normal growing up, consistency can feel boring. And if you had to earn love growing up, you may find yourself constantly chasing unavailable men. Not because that's what you want, but because it's what feels familiar to you. And until you heal that wound, you'll keep repeating the pattern. Some women don't have a man problem, they have a standards problem, because if you truly believed you were worthy of commitment, you wouldn't stay with a man who refuses to commit. If you truly believe you are worthy of respect, you wouldn't tolerate constant disrespect. If you truly believed you were worthy of healthy love, you wouldn't keep settling for crumbs. Healing isn't just about feeling better. Healing changes what you tolerate. It changes what you're attracted to. It changes your standards. And when your standards change, your dating life changes, because suddenly you're no longer available for the relationships that once felt normal. You're no longer trying to convince someone to choose you. You're choosing wisely. So in reality, you don't know what you're actually looking for. And that sounds obvious, but most women never sat down and clearly defined what they want in a husband. They know what they're attracted to. They know what they don't want, but they don't know what they're looking for. So they end up choosing a man based on feelings, chemistry, all the things I listed, instead of standards. Imagine trying to buy a house without knowing what you're looking for. You'd walk into every house and become kind of confused. One has a nice kitchen, one has a nice backyard, a nice neighborhood, one has a nice view, and because you have no criteria, every option looks good. Dating works the same way. If you don't know what qualities matter most to you, you'll be distracted by qualities that don't. Before I met my husband, this is my second marriage, I had to get that clear. Was what kind of man did I want? Did I want a provider? Did I want a protector? Did I want a man of faith? A man who wanted children? A man with leadership skills? I wanted a man who valued commitment. Those questions to yourself and really mapping out who it is you want matter, because clarity creates standards, and standards create discernment. So I would say healthy marriages start with healthy selection. The reason healthy marriages start with healthy selection isn't just my opinion, it's biblical wisdom. It's supported by neuroscience. Your brain is wired to chase chemistry, but wisdom teaches you to evaluate character. Your emotions want immediate connection, but discernment asks whether this person is capable of building a life with you in the first place. And that's how women stop attracting the wrong men and start selecting the right ones. Because be so for real, you have to be picky. You have to need and have standards. You need discernment. And most importantly, you have to become the type of woman who can attract the type of man you actually want. And if you need help becoming the kind of woman who can attract a provider and protect her husband, build a healthy marriage, I have one-on-one coaching and my course and a free training linked down below. I'm Crystal, a relationship coach for women, and I teach you how to attract a provider and protect your man so you can get married and stay married. Share this with anyone that you believe would help, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.